Welcome to Prove It.
I'm Megan O'Connor.
And I'm Mary Cummings.
This is the podcast for people who know that they were meant for more, but just don't know how to achieve it.
Every week, we bring you real conversations, proven strategies, and that kick in the ass you didn't know you needed to become the person you really want to be.
So it was probably only within the last year or so that I realized achieving my next goal or completing that next task isn't the thing that's going to make me happy or make me feel accomplished or make me feel like I have more time. Because inevitably, you're always going to want something more, or there's always going to be another task to complete. There's always going to be the next goal or the next version of yourself that is better than your current situation.
Do you think that's everybody, or do you think it has to be a certain mindset of a person to feel that way?
I don't think everybody feels that way at all. I think it is a very specific type of person. High achievers will say,
Right.
people that like being in control or are building a business and just consistently want the next thing or consistently try to stay busy and get to that next level.
Right.
But it comes to a point where you realize once you get to the next level, it's like, okay, where are we going now? And you don't always bask in that glory. You just move your goalpost.
Mm-hmm. One question in a top agent mastermind that is always asked is, where are you at in your business? Rate it 1 to 10. And anytime that I'm asked that question, I always answer the same exact number, from probably the last 10 years. I've always answered it in the same way. And I've always said 4. And people look at me because, I'm one of the top agents in the top 50 in the capital region, and they're like, 4. I'm like, I have so far to go.
Right.
And to me, being a 4, it's like, okay, I have some foundation, but there's so much more and there's so much left that if I said a 7 or 8, then it's just like, I'm so close. But in my mind, I will never be a 10. I will never say I'm a 10 because there's always, in my mind, there's always room for improvement. You can always be better. You can always grow in a different way. And to your point, it's chasing the dream, but always never feeling happy because I'm like, okay, let's celebrate. It's the end of the year. We had these awards. We did this. We accomplished our goals. But what's next year?
Right.
Where are we going?
Yeah, so it's actually called the Arrival Fallacy. So it's this belief that when I get to this number in my business, or when I have this many employees, or when I reach this goalpost, I'll be happy. And then you get there and the happiness lasts a day.
Well,
right?
this is cool. Yeah. And where are we going now?
Exactly. Because there is something in you, in these types of people, that do always strive for more. Well, there's always more that I could learn. There's always more that I could do. There's more money that I could make. There's more places I could travel. There's more things I could leverage off. There's more time that I could spend with my family. And that is true.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard. There is always something else to chase. And it's not to say that that's not okay. That's good. But I think that the very important thing that a lot of these people miss, that I missed when I ran my marketing company, I was working 14-hour days, and I was constantly saying to my significant other, well, once I just get to this, then I'll be able to spend more time with you. Once I do this, then I'll be happy. Then I'll feel like I succeeded. And guess what? That never stopped until I decided to close down that company.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was always more work to do. There was always one more client to take on. There was always one more employee to hire. And what you need to realize is that you need to find happiness throughout that journey, and you need to make time throughout that journey to spend time with your family and to focus on your health, to go to the gym, to eat healthy foods, to travel, because when you are that type of person, there's always going to be more work to do.
I find the journey just to be all exciting. And I love this conversation because it's something that higher achievers, business owners struggle with. It's what's the next best thing? What's the next project I'm working on? What's the next hire I'm going to do to be able to get us here? And that journey never stops because we always want to evolve
Right.
into the best version of ourselves.
So how do we fix this? Because I do think that this is something that most high achievers are probably struggling with on a day-to-day basis. We are obsessed with control. We are obsessed with checking things off of our list. We are obsessed with getting to that next goalpost. How do you slow somebody like that down? Because oftentimes I know for myself, when I am working, I feel very happy. I'm enjoying myself. It's what I love doing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not fair to the people in your life, and it's not fair to yourself.
You know what I did last week is I went to Austin for that mastermind, and typically the mastermind is always at the same time. It's 1 o'clock to 6 p.m. and then the following day it's 8 a.m. to 12. And I always come in. I leave my house at 6 a.m. in the morning, and with the time difference, I'm able to get there obviously with no flight hiccups. And I get in, I do my thing, and I get out. And this time I went a day early. And I was very purposeful about going a day early because I knew that I needed some personal time. And in Austin, there's a Lake Ladybird, and the loop around it, I think, is like 3.5 miles. And I left my phone in my hotel room, and I like ran and walked the whole entire lake, and I just was in my own head. I needed, you just had to get off the wheel.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be accountable to anybody. I just wanted some alone time. And when we are in the wheel of life, you just get so caught up in work and family and being needed, right? Or picking up my daughter from lacrosse practice, bringing her to play practice, all the things. Like, our business is 7 days a week.
It is.
And it's just like doing showings on Sundays at noon and juggling all the things. You just get caught up in the wheel of life. And it taught me that stop. And it's a time block, because I found that when I was done having my personal day and just setting my phone aside just for a few hours, it rejuvenated me. I felt like, oh my gosh, this was so simple. And it took me a day just to feel a better version of myself.
Right.
And knowing that you need alone time and you need to do things for yourself. And in the morning is that time block for me, because obviously as the day progresses, more distractions happen.
Right.
And it doesn't, I know myself, and I'll make excuses for it. Oh wait, a client called me, a house came on the market, I have to hurry up and show it. And that personal time gets set aside. So I know in the morning, I don't have any excuses. I have to do that for myself, and I have to show up. And when I do that for myself, I show up a better version for my family, for my clients. But it's just consistently slowing down and being able to take care of you.
Yeah.
That I feel like we forget sometimes.
I want to go back to the thing that you said about time blocking.
Yeah.
And one thing that is repeated often in our business, and it's typically talked about with lead generation. So when you make an appointment in your calendar to do your lead generation, coaches will say, if you wouldn't cancel an appointment with a client, why would you cancel an appointment with yourself? And I think that
so hard.
I know. I think that it's very important to take it out of the business context and put it into a personal context.
Mm-hmm.
And that time block that you have in the morning to exercise and go for a walk and rejuvenate yourself is so important. And you are the most important piece of your business, right? So if you wouldn't cancel an appointment with your most important client, why are you going to cancel an appointment with yourself? Because you need that time. And it's really hard because you wake up at 6 a.m. and you're ready to go and you just want to hop on that computer and start working. You need to slow down and take space for yourself, or you're going to end up in burnout. It's inevitable. I mean,
I always feel like I can just be more productive doing something else, right?
yeah.
So it's like the guilt where you're taking time to yourself, or you're going for a walk at noon on a Tuesday and you feel like so guilty about just going outside for 30 minutes because, oh, I can be doing this instead. I can be working on this project.
Right.
And that's where the fight in my mind gets to me, where I could always be doing something more productive than focusing on myself. And that's just something I've always struggled with, where I have learned the value in taking that time for yourself, because you're going to be more productive throughout the day, because you're going to have more energy. You're going to have a clearer mind. You're going to have all those things that's why that's why the physical health is so important. And it's always be consistent at.
It is. And it's really important to not only take time for yourself, but also to take time and look back and reflect on your wins.
Mm-hmm.
Because that success is going to be what propels you forward, especially when you're feeling overworked and burnt out. Take a moment and look back on everything that you've done and just be proud of yourself for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're constantly in this mindset of, well, I'll be happy when, or well, I will take more time when, it's never going to change. If you're not happy with where you are right now, when you reach that next goalpost, you're going to feel the same. It's not going to change. So it's about finding happiness in the journey and finding happiness in those small everyday moments. Like, picking your daughter up from lacrosse. It's like, what a privilege that I get to pick my daughter up from a sports game, and I don't have to be stuck in an office or whatever it is, because you're lucky enough to have your own business, and taking time for those that matter, including yourself and your family, and looking back and feeling proud of where you came is the only thing that you can do, because we're all control freaks and we all find happiness in control and in working all the time, but you have to find happiness outside of that, because you're always going to want more in your business. So define in your life, like, what are these things that I can do on a weekly basis that are going to rejuvenate me, that are going to make me happy? Maybe that's going for a walk with your significant other after dinner, or taking an hour in the morning to go to the gym, and find happiness and bliss in that, and try to take that guilt out of it, because it's really hard.
It is really those small moments. Like, it's not the huge extravagant like trips and everything. It's really the daily pieces in life. And it's crazy, when I was walking around that lake, I'm like, it just was like a shot of dopamine.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is amazing. I'm like, why is this little activity? And I'm still talking about it to this day.
Yeah.
Because it was so powerful, and it's exactly what I needed in that moment, just to unwind from the world and not be accessible to my phone for just a few hours. And I'm like, this is just needs to happen more. And it is that shot of dopamine that you get when you just take time to do the little things in life that bring you joy.
Yeah, so there was a study that came out in 2005 that actually breaks down where happiness comes from. So 50% of it is from your genetics. Some people are born with mental health in their family, so half of your happiness comes from genetics. Half of it you can't control. The other half is 10% life circumstances. So wherever you are in your life, your job, your family, relationships. And then the other 40%, which makes up almost the other half of your happiness, it comes from your choices and your mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're able to shift your mindset and have gratitude for the things that you do have in life, and make one choice every week to go for a walk around the lake.
The simple things.
It is. And it's almost half of your happiness comes from the way that you view the world.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're constantly feeling like, well, I'm not like, I need more, I need to reach this level, then you're always going to feel that way, because that's the choice that you are making with your mindset and with your everyday. You're choosing to work yourself to death and not take time for your family and feel like you haven't accomplished anything, when if you look back at yourself 10 years ago, look at how much you've accomplished.
Right.
It's crazy to think like you're a lot further along than you think, and you need to take that time to be proud of yourself. Never stop shooting for the stars, but find happiness within and on the journey, and make a conscious choice every day to be grateful for the things that you have accomplished and the things that you have. And how I love the quote. It's like, how lucky am I to feel tired for the goal that I'm consistently working for, like that I've always dreamed for, getting to this place.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how lucky are you every day to be in a position where you do get to work towards your dream business, or work towards the person that you want to be with educating yourself. Like, have gratitude. And even though the journey feels tough and it feels like you're never going to be there, you're never going to be there. You're
Right.
never going to be a 10. You're always going to want more.
I do think it's important to celebrate those small wins, right? When you do achieve a milestone in life, or if you had a great year and you achieved, like, all those little things should be celebrated. And maybe it's a dinner with your family, and maybe it's just an acknowledgement about, getting flowers for whatever it may be, but setting time aside to celebrate those in a way, instead of just being like, sometimes I'm like, oh, that was cool. What's next?
Right.
Maybe just expressing that even to my husband and saying, hey, I got this award, instead of him like, I don't even say it, and be like, let's do dinner. I really worked hard for this one.
Right.
And giving yourself that ability to feel accomplished, instead of saying, oh, well, what's next?
Yeah. And I did it for a whole year of working those 14-hour days. I kept saying, well, when I finish this, when I get here, I'll have more time to spend time with family. I'll have more time to spend time with my significant other. And it wasn't until I stepped out of that place and looked back on it of like, wow, what a freak I was. Like,
Yeah.
not leaving my desk for 14 hours. Like, what was wrong with me? And I built a great business in that 1 year, but looking back on it, I'm like, I wouldn't want to do that again.
Yep.
I'm still proud of what I did, but I kept asking myself, if I stayed where I was in that moment, even though it felt like I was succeeding and even though I felt like I was being productive, would I have still been happy? And the answer is no.
Mm-hmm.
And so do an audit. Ask yourself, am I happy with how much I am working? Or am I happy with, if I stayed where I am today, would I still be happy in 10 years?
Mm-hmm.
And if the answer is no, then something has to change.
Yep.
Take time out for yourself. Make a change.
Life is all about trial and error. You try something, but it is right. Like, you're always working towards something. You're always working towards the next goal, growing. And sometimes I step back and like, do I want this in
Right.
5 years? Do I want to still be in and sometimes it's no. And you have to pivot some things. You're like, okay, well, let me start building this because this now makes more sense. But acknowledging some things that you're working on isn't always needs to be the end goal.
Right.
I've shifted many times, and I'm excited for where I am today and now where I'm going.
And we always talk about delegation. So if you do feel like your business needs 14 hours a day of work, you have to delegate some of that work off. You have to time block for yourself. You have to make things a priority that you may feel guilty about making a priority.
Right.
But the more that you practice it, the easier it's going to be, and it probably will increase that that 40% of your happiness,
Mhm.
it is going to increase that.
Yeah, and it's going to just help you with the whole entire burnout, like we always talk about, because that's I feel like happiness and the burnout. There has to be a good balance.
Yeah. So stop waiting, stop delaying, make a change now. Stop telling yourself, when I finish this task, I'll be able to take time off. Make it a priority.
Mm-hmm. I love vacation.
Me too. Speaking of which, I've actually been needing to schedule one. So,
Yep.
I'm going to go schedule my vacation. And to all of our listeners out there who feel like you are just
Chasing happiness.
spinning your wheels, chasing happiness, take a moment, sit back, be grateful, and realize happiness is not at the next milestone, to find it along the journey.
I love that. The work isn't hard. It's just what most people won't do consistently.
If you're ready to master your mindset through small, intentional shifts, keep tuning in.
And if you've ever considered how real estate could help evolve your financial future, it's time to have a conversation, because you know you are meant for more. Now prove it.